Hello, I'm Derek Doran, and today I'm going to read and review my poem Infinitely Yours. Infinitely Yours. The first modern mathematician to try to get to grips with the nature of infinity was Georg Cantor, and he ended his days in a mental institution. Here's why. Numbers never run out. You can always add one to whichever number you have to make a bigger one, and you therefore be forgiven for thinking numbers must be infinite. But what if you're only counting even numbers? Or if you're only counting odd numbers? Then the infinity of those numbers must be half the infinity of all numbers. And if I'm including decimals, then the number of those numbers is presumably a much bigger number than the infinite number of all whole numbers. Don't get me started on negative numbers. I therefore conclude that infinities have different sizes, and if infinities have sizes, then they aren't really infinities at all, are they? Just some very large numbers. Take a googol, for example. A googol is a 1 followed by 100 zeros. It doesn't look all that big when you write it out, but the figure represents a value larger than the number of all hydrogen atoms that exist in the observable universe. Now that's a big number, but it's not infinite. And what's more, a googol is piffling when compared to a googolplex. A googolplex is so big that if you tried to write it down using the standard notation of a 1 and endless zeros, there wouldn't be enough space or molecules in the universe for all the paper that would need to exist. It would take more time to write out than the universe has currently been in existence. Now that's a really big number. But googols and googolplexes are still not infinite, and there's small change alongside the number, which is the daddy of them all, discovered in 1977 by scientist Ronald Graham and called, rather disappointingly, Graham's number. Yeah. 2464195387. Those are the last 10 digits of Graham's number, and that's all that scientists can usefully tell us, because no one knows what the other numbers are. How fucked up is that? Of more immediate interest to me is wondering how scientists discover a number in the first place. Does someone walk them into the lab on the bottom of their shoes? Perhaps Georg Cantor spent his final days rummaging down the back of a sofa looking for such a number, one that would be named after him. Now you and I might think that surely we can just add another 1 onto Graham's number and make those last 10 digits 2464195388. But we can't, you see. It doesn't work like that. And that's why most of us are not quantum physicists. No matter what they tell you, there really isn't such a thing as infinity. Your number always runs out. Hey, so how mad is that? The idea that infinities can have different sizes. I mean, it just blew my mind when I first came across it. So they can't really be infinite at all, can they? If they have sizes, you know, you can't have one and the other. And poor Georg Cantor, he was principally a mathematician, and his work impinged upon the more ethereal edges of philosophy. So Cantor believed that his insight had been gifted to him by God, but his thoughts on the nature of infinity offended and outraged theologians who asserted that God was the only thing in the universe that could be thought of as infinite. It's no wonder the poor guy descended into mental ill health. Anyway, I wrote out a Google for you, a 1 followed by 100 zeros. There we go. Pretty big, eh? But you know, fits onto a piece of paper in big letters, so not really that big in the big scheme of things. What about the marvellous Ronald Graham, he of the Graham's number fame? Well, he was a mathematician. He sadly died in 2020 at the age of 85, but I found out on Wikipedia something really interesting about him. He was an accomplished trampolinist and juggler. So how cool is that? And he served as president of the International Jugglers Association during his lifetime. So an interesting character. So if we accept that Graham's number is not actually infinite, then where are we? Does infinity exist? And I came across the work of mathematician Dr. Doran Zeilberger, who's a very distinguished professor of mathematics. He takes the view that infinity is nonsense and he has nothing to do with it. And he said, and I quote, "You can keep counting forever. The answer is infinity, but quite frankly, I don't think I ever liked it. I always found something repulsive about it. Infinity mathematics to me is something that is meaningless because it is abstract nonsense." Wow, I really like that, because he doesn't like it. He doesn't believe it. What a great philosophy. This could be very useful in life. You know, if there's anything you don't like, just stop believing in it. Maybe it goes away. I kind of like that. But then he also describes it as abstract nonsense, which I also like, you know, so I kind of have a foot in both camps. And you know, infinity does that to you. Messes with your head big time. Well folks, I bet you thought this video was never going to end, but end it must, and it's time for me to go. Until next time then, thank you for all your continuing support. Please subscribe and like if you haven't already done so. And I will see you again shortly for some more abstract nonsense. Until then, take care.